to football and the kitchen sink. Get ready for in-depth conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro football. Plus some insight about the rest of the world. All this, along with some fun and humor along the way. Pull up a chair, grab a coffee or a beer, and join us. It's football and the kitchen sink. Here are your hosts, Coach Schuman and Coach T. Pascali.
Oh, welcome to the podcast. Sorry we missed you all yesterday, day after Super Bowl Sunday. I guess that's the official day of, not official day off, but definitely a day off for me from football. I'm sure the pundits were all over it, but we took a little break after lots and lots of snow. We had a fantastic Super Bowl, and normally I'd be on with my host, Coach D, but he's experiencing some power outages, and so it'll be me today. And so I wanted to cover a couple of cool things that everything, for the most part, Super Bowl today. I welcome any and all of your analysis. What's going on, Omar? It's good to see you, man. Yep, we're definitely gonna hit it up. I'll definitely. I figured the comments will come in today. The Super Bowl was rigged. Nice outfit, and really break it down. First of all, I thought there was. First of all, biggest surprise was that the Chiefs couldn't do anything on defense, and a lot of the Chiefs fans are real upset about it. And I think there's a lot of things that they want to blame, but the only thing they could blame is the fact that they couldn't get anything going on offense, and I think that was a huge part of it. Tampa Bay's defense completely locked down the Chiefs for most part and focused primarily on the two best players that the Chiefs have on the offensive side of the ball, which is Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And by taking away the things that he could do, it really, really limited their offense. At times they went to Hilaire a little bit, and he got a little bit of things going, but he's not yet in a position to be able to carry the load. The other running back was clearly Williams was clearly not on par against his Bucs defense. And the biggest story, and I'll get to thank you, Omar. I'll get to Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what they did offensively, and hopefully I'll get a chance to break down some of these things. But what was really crazy was the defense of the Buccaneers. First of all, taking away the biggest part of the Chiefs, which is their down the field passing game. So everything predicates on the Chiefs being able to go down the field. So down the field with Tyreek, down the field with off of any sort of action, and then utilizing Travis Kelce however they want to. And that first part, getting takeaway, was a problem for him. Second part is that the injuries at tackle, and so moving the right tackle to left tackle, which meant you had two tackles that essentially were newbies for this game, was a problem. And there was no way that Shaq Barrett and Pierre-Paul was going to be stopped by guys that it'd been hard for guys who were all-stars at that position to stop those two at the top of their game. But definitely guys that had 2 weeks of practice could barely do anything. And the pass rush was unbelievable. I mean, Shaq Barrett just obliterated them from a pass rushing standpoint with speed and power. Pierre-Paul, maybe not as young as he was, but he still has so much power to be able to literally take the tackle and drive him back. Their run game, which has been okay all year, one of the things I firmly believe when you get, and this is something that I would say that Tom Brady, and if you watch the way that on offensively they played the game, once they saw they could run the ball, that's the experience of knowing what has worked in Super Bowls. The Patriots were not known for running the ball, but in the Super Bowls, if you look at their past Super Bowl performances, they ran the ball incredibly well. And then that same exact thing happened to take place again with Tampa, and they, even though sometimes I think they went to play action a little bit too much early on, Tampa, I thought they should have ran even more. I thought that mix was just unstoppable. And once they got that first touchdown to Gronk off the play action on the run, it set the tone that the Chiefs were really going to have a problem handling both the run game and the play action pass game. Put the Chiefs in a position where they were going to be guessing. And if you remember, if you watched my last podcast, the big issue that I said was going to be a problem as they started going through. So I originally I was rooting for the Bucs, but I thought logically the Chiefs might have had too much on offense. But when I broke it down unit by unit, and me and Coach D broke it down unit by unit, the thing that I said is that I thought that Tom Brady would throw 3 or more touchdowns. I didn't know that Mahomes would not be able to match that. That was something that I wasn't sure about. And I noticed I used a lot of Reynolds and Fournette instead of the pass game. I mean, the Bucs ran Fournette, and they ran 20. I can't believe it slipped my mind, number 27, but he's a heck of a back too. And so that run game, that play action pass game was very difficult for the Chiefs to stop. They had a push on the offensive line. And so what I'm going back to what I originally said was unit for unit. Okay. Unit for unit. When we broke it down, we said quarterbacks was a push. We said running backs was really James is the other running back. And Jones, Ronald Jones. At running back, I thought the Bucs had an edge. I thought the offensive line, I thought the Bucs had an edge, especially due to injuries. I thought the defensive line, the whole defensive unit, the Bucs had an edge. So I was almost going against the whole crowd would really say, hey, yeah, the Chiefs, because they won last year. But as I went unit by unit, special teams, I gave the edge to the Chiefs, and it looked like the Chiefs for the most part held true to that. But overall, the defensive unit of the Buccaneers was so much more dominant than the Chiefs' offensive unit. And then the other thing that I thought was really an issue for the Chiefs, and you saw it and everyone was touting this, these miracle passes by Mahomes. So it is amazing what he can do, how he can move his body, still get the ball to the right area. And people are like, if the Chiefs caught those balls. Here's what happens when the Chiefs quarterback Mahomes is forced into running all around, going back 20 yards, coming forward, making miraculous throws, even if they're on target. 2 main things happens. Number one, he puts himself into a level of tiredness and exhaustion where eventually they get some easy sacks because of the fact that he's running around just trying to keep the play alive, okay? And then number 2, the second thing that is crazy, that is really, really crazy, is that when the ball goes down the field and there's 10 seconds, he's running around like that, and he doesn't have that kind of protection, what essentially happens is you got wide receivers that start to get tired and they start to drop balls. So even though there's an amazing pass that gets down the field, you're going to have a ball that's going to be dropped here and there, and that's what happened to the Chiefs. Even when he throws the ball 40 yards down, falling on his side to be able to make a play. So that's essentially what happens there. And so over the course of the game, that's where you come out with 0 points, not an ability to run the ball. And everyone could blame the referees all they want. That's, a call here or a call there. The truth is, the key component of the game, the key play of the game was when the Buccaneers had at the end of the half got the penalty, and then they came down the field. Okay, and when they got when they got down the field, the Buccaneers, and then they drew a situation where they threw another pass straight up the field. Tom Brady, if you remember, they called timeout. I don't remember if it was a penalty or it was a timeout, but Tom Brady waved off the new play call, went with the play right down the middle of the field where he just took it, fired it. The defensive back didn't even have a chance to turn, which means he was grabbing, got an easy penalty, puts the ball at the one, throws the ball to Antonio Brown, and basically that puts the Chiefs in a major hole. I think also definitely was some level of distraction. I don't know if it's a huge distraction, but some level of distraction. Everything that was going on with the Chiefs, with Andy Reid's son, the accident, and the terrible thing of the two kids that were injured, one severely. I don't know the updated situation of that, but that was definitely a distraction for what they're doing. After it's all said and done, and there are issues there on that staff that now you not only did you lose two coaches, I don't know how much of impact that part out of the game, but just the distraction overall right before the Super Bowl. That is an issue that does affect the team somewhat. So all that coupled in, and a big part of this whole story is obviously hopefully those kids are okay. That's the most important part. But because obviously games can go on and they'll come and go, but someone's life hopefully doesn't get lost to that situation. So, and hopefully, if there's going to be repercussions. If there was, read reports that there might be brain damage to one of the children. And so if that's indeed the case, there's going to be a real big issue there. So, so as far as, early on, and I'll put a couple of clips up in a second. The run game with Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette is the biggest thing offensively that catapulted the Buccaneers. And then Tom Brady's ability to have fantastic timing in his passing and the protection he had up front. He was never touched all game. Contrast that with Patrick Mahomes, who was running for his life half the game. Right from the beginning, he was scrambling. He looked like, he's escaping. But over time, those guys corral him and end up making the plays there. So some really – and then I'll show a few takes here. Just hang on quick here. I'll pull some stuff up. I thought it was – and then we got to talk about the streaker. So let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. So I put I thought one of the funniest moments. So here was and it shows you the kind of, first of all, the selfless the attitude that the Buccaneers had, which was a philosophy that they were going to play 100 miles an hour all game long, keep coming. They had a total positive mindset towards everything, and they were going to get after it. So I'll show you. I love this interview. This is just a quick clip with Shaq Barrett here. That's not it there. That's not it. Let me see here. Okay. All right. I love this right here. I thought this was great.
77, he was talking so much, he made me mad. 77, he was talking so much, he made me mad. I had his neck all game.
What did he say to you? What did he say?
I don't even know what he was saying because it didn't matter. I was talking to him.
What did you say?
Hey, I told him he was a scrub, he was trash. I gotta take a train home today. Can't get back on the flight. Can't get back on the flight tonight.
That's great. I mean, Shaq Barrett's gives you a little insight into what was going on in the game. I mean, both him and left it would have been their right tackle was just unbelievably going back and forth the whole entire game and just how much good time they're having, not just playing the game, but how much a good time. I'll give you another thing I thought was great too. This is my quick analysis.
And moving around. Oh, he's got.
Here's our streaker friend.
Here he is. It looks like he has some good size.
Someone had come in and
moving around. Oh, he's got someone pursuing him. Yeah, makes a move. He breaks a move. He hits the X button. He could get.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious. That was hilarious. The streaker, that was funny. Omar asks, is Bruce Arians coaching next season? It's a great question. I think, yeah. I mean, why not? They got the whole team coming back. So I don't see why they wouldn't. Tom Brady's coming back. Gronk's coming back. The whole crew's coming back. So there's no reason why they couldn't be a duplicate situation there. So definitely. I'll show you another. Let's see if we can get some other really good. Let's see. Oh, and with the speaking of the streaker, amazing article I read that I don't know if it's true or not that he placed a prop bet that someone would go across the streaker, and as it turned out, he put like I don't remember how much it was, but he ended up winning $350. I want to say he put $5,000 on, and he ended up winning $350,000 on the prop bet. So there you go. Maybe it was 50. I don't remember what it was, but he won a prop bet by himself streaking. That's one way to make sure a bet happens to yourself. Take it under control. All right, let's get this up. Okay. All right. So we'll break down for just so the Bucs have been running inside zone. They've run wide zone and just been completely dominating. And they do this from this exact set. And I'll show you. Let me see if I can pull up. This is the first touchdown. Okay. I'll pull it up. So the play that they've been running the whole entire time was this down. They've been running. They ran it a couple of ways. So they ran it with just a one wide receiver down. They all down blocked, okay, across with Gronk as a wing or his tight end, and then left the corner on an island. But here, okay, this is kind of an indicator that there may be a passing situation that they took the two receivers, put them away, running this play action. Gronk comes all the way flat across, catches it in the flat. After running the ball down, they have to be real concerned, especially the defensive end. They're in man-to-man, which you get a lot of the time down inside the 10-yard line. There it is. Look how open he is. I mean, this is just look how far up the field for the run. It is just they're all fighting pressure versus pressure, run blocking, it looks like to them. I mean, that's just stealing. That's the first one. Great call there. That really was a fantastic call. Right up the alley of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. That H-back play action play, you see it all the time in college. You see it all the time in the pros. It always works down on the goal line. Okay? Always works, especially when your run game is really starting to dominate. Now, this was the Antonio Brown. So one of the things I thought with the Honey Badger that was a mistake was not that, I mean, these guys are all pros, not that it makes the biggest difference whether they talk smack or not or get out of the game. But I felt like Tyrann Mathieu going at Tom Brady, getting him fired up. I don't know if it did per se made him play better, but it made Tyrann Mathieu press more and definitely made Brady more of where he was to go at him. So he did that several times with several different people. And here's a good example of it. This is down. And early on, I didn't realize that this was actually during the game. I didn't realize at first that this play was on Tyrann Mathieu. Coverage is not bad, but just I don't think you're covering Antonio Brown in space here. Okay, this is obviously a heavy run set. Other than leaking out at this tight end here, this is a situation where you have a one-on-one matchup. You're thinking it's first and goal. They're probably going to run. Maybe they'll try to run the ball in, but there's not much time. There's 10 seconds left. So the play action right there, Antonio Brown working towards the out, slams his foot into the ground. Tyrann Mathieu, who's a great football player, but definitely not quick enough to handle him one-on-one. And I am a little surprised that was the matchup. Wide open. I mean, the timing of the pass by Brady is perfect. Pulls up. He's actually almost a tad late on the throw, and but wide open. Let's see if Gronk is open as well. Look at Gronk up on the top of the screen. I mean, they had two guys. He went to Gronk in the corner. He probably had that too. So there's another example of just a back-breaking play. Great example of that right there. Look, Mike Evans looked uncoverable at times. Antonio Brown made plays when he needed to. Obviously, he's got tremendous talent. Gronkowski with 6 catches. Gronkowski plays about half the game. He doesn't play the whole entire game anymore, which probably saves his body, which is probably why he was happy to get out of New England. He would be going every single play and then physically get beat up. That extra rest helped Gronkowski, especially in the Super Bowl game. He's not as young, and for one game, if he's properly rested, he is as good as it gets. The running game was unstoppable, and I just think, Shaq Barrett, his quickness off the ball. I haven't seen a outside linebacker, call him outside linebacker, is almost like a defensive end. So it was pretty unbelievable. And I thought, some of the matchups, you had run matchups, you had linebackers that were not as quick on Gronkowski, on on wide receivers at times. Tyrann Mathieu shouldn't be on Antonio Brown there. I know he's a very athletic safety, but his quickness and speed, Brown is just too quick. That's just an easy steal for him. So see if we can find some other cool moments here. So let's see. I think one of the big other things, I just want to pull up the numbers here from this game. All right, let me pull this up here. By the way, if you were part of the NUC Sports Super Bowl, the boxes, we actually had 2 winners. They got shirts going out from this week. 2 winners. They both picked the 7-3, which was in the first period. We also had someone try to slide in there after the first quarter was over, pick 7-3, very smart, but I caught it. And normally I wouldn't care, but it was pretty blatant. So let's go. So 31-9. Patrick Mahomes was 26 of 49 for 270 yards, 2 INTs. That's, I thought it was going to be a shootout with Tom Brady throwing a bunch of touchdowns. I said he had to throw 3 or more to win. I think he threw 3. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran 9 times for 64 yards. Mahomes 5 for 33, but was sacked a bunch of times. They don't count that in the stats. They couldn't get Tyreek Hill going the way they wanted to, even though if you look at the numbers, they have a bunch of catches. Travis Kelce is 10 for 133. Yes, he's a fantastic player. Yes, Tyreek gets 7 for 73. The issue is that none of these other receivers could get anything going. Hardman couldn't get anything going. I mean, that was a problem. They were able to take him away with the safeties and the cover guy. Tampa Bay has the best defensive back coach in the country in Nick Rapone. He actually, when he was with the Cardinals with Bruce Arians, they had the best defensive backs. They had Patrick Peterson. They had Tyrann Mathieu. Now over here with the Buccaneers, Winfield and a host of other guys just kept getting better and better under him. Nick Rapone is the best DB coach, bar none, in the NFL. And I happen to have been coached by him. When I played at UConn, he was my defense coordinator there, and he was always great defensive back coach. Back then, that was always his specialty. He knows how to get those guys to play. He knows how to get the most out of them. His intensity is unmatched as a coach. And defensive backs respond to him. I mean, he gets them to rise to the occasion. I've seen it in college. I seen it at the NFL. I saw it when he was with the Cardinals. I've seen it here again with the Buccaneers. I see the way that his defensive backs talk to him and talk about him and have stayed in touch with him over the years. Those relationships that prime time gets him to get the most out of his guys, and the experience of all the years. So happy to see Nick Rapone get a Super Bowl championship after being in the game for that many years. Good friends with, obviously he's good friends with Bruce Arians. They played in college together, they're roommates. And by the way, Bruce Arians is one of the first dual. I read a whole article about that. He's one of the first dual threat quarterbacks back in the day. So Tom Brady stats. Let's go to. I know I digress from here and there, but I'm on my own. So hopefully you're enjoying the show. We're doing a deep dive analysis into the Super Bowl, and then I'll take some takes of some of these pundits and what they said. First of all, before I talk about Tom Brady and what he did, Tom Brady, for many years, I used to think that Peyton Manning was the best quarterback ever, and Tom Brady has proven over and over again that he is indeed the best quarterback of all time. He was 21 of 29, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. He got the ball spread around to as many guys as possible. Leonard Fournette, he did a great job getting the ball down to Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate. Those guys just were uncoverable. The running game of Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones combined for 150 yards and 28 carries. Fournette for 89, Jones for 61. Pretty impressive. Defensively, Devin White, 8 tackles. I mean, every week he's the top guy. 8 tackles, and INT again. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Winfield with 4 and 1 INT. Sack-wise, we had Sue had 1.5, Shaquille Barrett had 1, Cameron Gill had a half. I guess Pierre Paul didn't get credit, but he got a lot of pressures. So they were exceptional there. The other story, the Chiefs punter struggled in this game mightily struggled. And Chiefs defensively, thought Sorensen was okay. I mean, I just didn't see, Chris Jones played well at times, but not consistently. And they just couldn't get the ball to their weapons. So, all right, let's see. So my big thing is I love this. Max Kellerman shoots his mouth off about everything and doesn't know much. I mean, he was a pretty good boxing analyst, but now that they got him doing everything, he said that Tom Brady was washed up, and here he is winning the Super Bowl. It's hilarious when people who don't know anything, literally just a talking head like Max Kellerman, who doesn't have a clue, and so it's pretty crazy to see that. Men NFL coaches been coached by guys that were NFL coaches. Quite a few, actually. So it becomes a thing where when you predict against Tom Brady and his regimen, at some point he will get old, but it is amazing at 43 what he's able to do. And it's pretty impressive. It really, really is impressive how he's continuously his workout regimen. I saw he gets up at 5:30. He's got 2 workouts a day in the off season. In season, he has 1 workout a day besides practice. He's watching film all the way through. He meets with his coaches. I mean, the amount of work he puts in is something that's really, really incredible. It's such an interesting thing to see someone like Bruce Arians get to the championship this late in his career and win a championship, and how he, I saw a great interview with Nick Rapone, defensive back coach. Great interview. Yes, just like Mayweather. Excellent, Griffin. Great call. Bruce Arians, who had traditionally been a guy who called the offensive game at every other, even though he's been a head coach at every other place, this year when he came back, decided that he was going to. Hey, Troy.
Wait, where's Derek?
There's no Derek today, buddy.
Why?
It's just me.
Why?
That's it.
Then who are you talking to?
I'm talking to the fans. See all the fans here?
Whoa, that's a lot. I think those are the same people.
Hey, Troy, come on upstairs.
Over and over.
All right, your mom is calling you.
Is that the same?
Give me a kiss.
Come on, babe.
I'll see you later, buddy.
Can I
Do you want? All right.
Come on, Troy.
Tell everybody your disappointment with the Chiefs.
Okay, Dave, let him come upstairs.
Oh no, don't that. You tell them.
All right. Okay, your mom's calling you. I'll be up in a little bit. So.
I just had Cheerios. Having salmon for dinner.
Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh, so Bruce Arians decided this year, and when he came back, and I saw this in an interview. That's right. I saw that in an interview with Nick Rapone. They were talking with him about the Super Bowl. What was the difference? The difference between coaching with Bruce Arians in the past and this year. And the big thing was he did not call the offense. And by him not calling the offense allowed him to have the flexibility to help both the offensive side and the defensive side step back, especially now that he's older, and really look at the defense as well and give his input there. And I think that, you see Nick Saban obviously does that at the college level. There are times where you need to be a play caller, and there are times where it's better to let someone else play call. It really depends on your own situation. But with this team and bringing in Tom Brady, that allowed Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady to really work together to figure out the best solutions. Okay. When Bruce Arians, as now an elder statesman as a coach, focuses more on the relationships and the building of the team, focuses on fine-tuning the defense and offense and looking at everything from a 5,000-foot view and getting into the details that can help both sides. That really, I think, elevated him. And by having Byron Leftwich in there, who is going to be able to have that relationship as a fellow QB like Tom Brady, he might be actually younger than Tom Brady, but as a fellow QB, that relationship, it became a relationship where they could go back and forth on calls, much like the one at the end of the game where they got the pass interference. He wanted to keep that play. You could see that he wanted that one-on-one matchup because either the guy was going to catch it for the end zone, was going to be an interference call, give them great position. Those kind of things made a big difference. And if you get a chance to pull up that interview, it's on YouTube with Rapone talking about Bruce Arians. I think the interview talks, it might be titled him discussing Winfield and his growth. But there's a big part of it where he talked about what changed with Bruce Arians for this year. Really, really great stuff. And if you really love the game of football and you want to understand the mindset of how a coach who's been very good but never got to the mountaintop figured out a couple things. Obviously, Tom Brady's a big part of that, how to get the pieces in place, and then sometimes less is more. Allowing everybody else to do it made a huge difference. Sometimes that's not the answer. In this case, it was the answer. So really, really interesting. And if you get a chance, check out that interview there. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing well today. We avoided the snow in New Jersey, I guess. It was supposed to snow. It says every day that it's supposed to snow here, other than tomorrow, I think. And it was just crazy. I want to say hello to everybody. Give everyone a quick shout out. And so that's the biggest takeaway of it. The combination of the changes that Bruce Arians made on that team. We have a guest from Turkey. Hello, sir. And the changes he made on the team, the changes that he made with allowing Byron Leftwich to have more flexibility with Tom Brady, the defensive players and the other players that he got on the offensive side of the ball to complement Mike Evans, to complement Tom Brady, getting Antonio Brown, signing him, showing that Tom Brady, and everybody knows it now, obviously. So I'm not stating anything that people don't already know, but Tom Brady was the most important element. Nobody really knew, but we now know. Not that Belichick, thank you, Omar, I appreciate it. Not that Belichick isn't a great coach. The man is a great coach. It's hilarious that people are saying that he's – and by the way, there's some great memes going around about Belichick. I mean, if you want to just laugh your butt off, there's a couple of great memes with Mahomes and Tom Brady that had me rolling. Some people take these things too seriously, but it is funny. It is funny. And I got to pull up this best one. Hold on, I got to pull this up. Where is it? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I can't find it. Let me see. I can't find it. There's a great video with Kevin Hart and Joe Namath I don't remember what movie it was, but where the old guys come out and take the young guys, and they said they could take it easy. And everyone said that's Mahomes and Brady telling him to take it easy, but he did it. It's pretty funny, and I agree, Omar. Yeah, I think Belichick may have gotten there at some point, but Brady's that much of an impact that maybe he doesn't win. I don't know. Does he win a championship without Brady? I mean, if you think about it, Drew Bledsoe, before Bledsoe went down and Brady took over, Drew Bledsoe was an excellent quarterback, and they were winning some games with him. But he had been to the Super Bowl with Bill Parcells, I believe, was the coach of the Patriots. And I think that Belichick has had good quarterbacks, but Brady's so elite that he makes things happen. And, the only thing I can liken it to, and I saw one of our callers put in today, or text, whatever you want to call Texas, said Mayweather. Yes, the way Mayweather dismantles people as far as from his strategy, his scheme, as far as a boxer, and how he is able to enact it and always be one step ahead of everybody. My other one is Michael Jordan in his prime. Michael Jordan, why people always say, why is Michael Jordan to you better than LeBron James? Well, LeBron James is physically more dominant and could do things from a size standpoint that probably no one else could have ever done. Michael Jordan had athleticism, but also had the tenacity and the understanding of the game that is just light years ahead of everybody else, and just raised everybody's levels to unbelievable levels. And Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, and I put it like these are I'm not talking about guys. I don't know. I mean, I know about players in the past, but it's hard for me to equate too many players beyond my time period. I'm 46 years old, so could there be somebody, I don't know, some say Johnny United, I don't know. But I'm saying modern era, Michael Jordan, Mayweather, Tom Brady, Tiger Woods in his prime of what he was able to do, and then the ability after his prime to come back and win after being basically out of the mix. I mean, you're talking the greatest of the greats in football. What's amazing about Tom Brady, and I don't know if everybody talks about this or not, and I think that the biggest difference, maybe Tiger Woods responsible for himself. Okay. Mayweather responsible for himself. Michael Jordan responsible for himself and 4 other people at the same time. Tom Brady responsible for himself, plus 10 others on the offensive side of the ball. And then motivationally with defense and special teams, you're talking another 30 players that he has to continue to have in the right direction, which is unique. For one piece to be that important in football, and quarterback's the most important position. I get that. I understand that. When I coach, that's the center of my offense. Okay. But for one person to be able to make that big of an impact, to have 7 championships is unbelievable. Unbelievable. There is no athlete that in a team sport has ever done anything close to what Tom Brady's been able to do. No one has been able to do anything close. And I was never a Tom Brady fan. I am a Tom Brady fan because of what he does on the field. You cannot question it. Mahomes is going to be a great quarterback. He already is an excellent quarterback. He's a pro. If he continues on his pace, he'll probably win some more championships. He's got a long way to go to become Tom Brady. Okay. At times he does amazing things, but he's got a long way to go. And I think one of the things that will start to settle him in is how he starts to utilize more and more of his personnel all the time. That's the sign of what Tom Brady does. That's unique. He uses all his receivers all the time. Mahomes is close. He probably will get there. He's the next guy that could. And then we'll see with Trevor Lawrence if he gets drafted, if he's got that kind of talent. We'll see soon enough. It's going to be a tough uphill battle. But Tom Brady, what he's done, 7 Super Bowls. I heard it said that they interviewed Gronkowski. What makes him? Some of these I had earlier, but I've watched so much stuff. They asked him, what makes Tom Brady so great? What makes Tom Brady so great? And is he just one of the guys? And Gronkowski said the thing that is so great about Tom Brady is he is just one of the guys. Players, young and old, Gronk to rookies, can come up to him and ask him questions, and he will answer their questions for them. He is a leader, not just because he's a great football player, but because he takes the time to invest in his players. You would think someone that is as big a celebrity as he is, he's married to who at one time was the top supermodel in the world. Okay, she's worth $500 million herself. The level that they're at, they're not in the clouds. He has everything going for him, but still knows how to relate to all the players, no matter who they are, in order to get the common objective done. And that's the key thing that he does. And Gronkowski talked a lot about it. And I've never seen Gronkowski talk about any other quarterback like that. Not that he would want to play for any other quarterback. But that is the difference between Tom Brady and everybody else. He invests in everybody on the team, not just in himself. He invests in himself. He expects everything of himself. But he invests in all the other players and is open to their questions. So if you're seeking greatness, his goal is to help you get there. And his experience of being at such a high level for so long rubs off on every single player, not because he just tells them, hey, I've been there, but he shows them the way. He shows them how to get where they want to go. He takes the time to answer their questions in the locker room. He's one of the guys. He spends more time, not just more time because he wants to be great, but he wants everybody else to be great. And not only everybody else to be great, but to feel comfortable about the process. That's what makes Tom Brady different than everyone else. Okay, there's a lot of quarterbacks that do it that maybe don't have his talent. Tom Brady has the talent, the leadership, the knowledge, and what I always call the X factor. And he's got the greatest X factor of all. There is no quarterback in the history of the NFL that has the X factor that he has. Tom Brady had not just the clout, but the courage when he felt in order for him to be better, he had his TB12 training facility. He had his strength and conditioning coach that he worked with, knew that it was essential to getting him better. He had the courage to go ahead and utilize it when it was discouraged. Okay, not because he wasn't a team guy, but because he saw what could be. He's the Elon Musk of football. Elon Musk of football. He's personable. He's a great player. He's not aloof, even though people would think he would be aloof. He's not aloof. He's a regular guy, and he has tremendous talent. He's got all those things going for him, and he's still doing it at 43. And that's what makes him just unique. I spent 3/4 of the show on him. When people question referees or all these other things, There's a lot of times when referees make mistakes, and there probably was mistakes made in that game. But you weren't stopping Tom Brady for 4 quarters. Remember, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. They basically ran the ball, ended the game at 31 at the end of 3 periods. If they had to put up 3 more touchdowns, they could have. That's how dominant they were. I, at one point, said it was the most dominant performance since the Cowboys dismantled the Buffalo Bills under Troy Aikman. When Troy Aikman was at his peak, Troy Aikman was dismantling teams. Troy Aikman did it for a brief time period. Tom Brady has done it for an elongated time period with a gap of like 6 years where he had lost Super Bowls in a row, came back and then won a few Super Bowls to give him 7 Super Bowls for Tom Brady. Tampa Bay Buccaneers win their 2nd Super Bowl. If anyone can remember who was the coach who won the first one. Does anyone? John Gruden. The Tampa Bay Bucs won the Super Bowl with John Gruden. They are partying down in Ybor City. I saw some crazy things going on there. Fun place to be. I've been down there. Hung many a time with my old roommate who was playing for the Tampa Bay Storm. And great city, Tampa Bay. Actually thought about moving to Tampa many times when I was younger, just because of just an awesome atmosphere, the beach, the bay. Just if you get a chance to go to Tampa, it's a great place and a lot of fun and a lot of good things there. What an amazing Super Bowl. A couple other side notes. One of the great coaches, Marty Schottenheimer, passed away. That's a shame. 77 years, I think he had dementia and some other things going on. And that's a shame. But, I mean, fantastic coach, Marty Schottenheimer. So rest in peace there. Drew Pearson. They came out with the Hall of Fame, and Drew Pearson, after much, much, much controversy, Drew Pearson got in the Hall of Fame. Does that mean that Cliff Branch is not far behind among the receivers, the great receivers of the NFL, old NFL, that have not gotten into the Hall of Fame? Peyton Manning, obviously, gets into the Hall of Fame. Pretty amazing. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, I think. Let me see. Tom Brady came into the NFL. What year? He was drafted in 2000. Peyton Manning must have been like 96 or I don't know. Peyton Manning was drafted in, let me see here, 98. So he's 2 years, but he's only a year older than Tom Brady, drafted in 98. Jeez, Peyton Manning earned $248 million in his career as a player. What has Tom Brady earned? I don't know. It doesn't list it here. I'm curious what he's earned as a player. I'm sure it's even more than that. All right. Well, great show. I hope I broke the Super Bowl down for you guys in a way that everybody could understand. Some great. If you get a chance to rewatch it, some great clips, and we broke down nuts and bolts the Super Bowl. Everybody have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Hopefully my co-host will be back because he was off today, and hopefully we'll have him.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football and the Kitchen Sink with Coach Schuman and Coach DePascali. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to tell a friend. We will meet you back here next time on Football and the Kitchen Sink.
Thanks, everybody.